Good Monday afternoon, YouTube. How you guys doing today? So, honey, we got a lot to discuss, right? So I figured I'd jump on here and talk to you guys as you make your way home from work, or as you are winding down from work, or as you are going to work, or whatever the case may be, honey. Okay. But anyway, so like I said, I want to talk about a couple of things. Hey, Mika, how you doing? Good evening. First thing I want to talk about was CeeLo Green. Now, you guys know for days, well, ever since um last Friday, there has been discussion going on social media concerning Cardi B, Child, and Megan Thee Stallion and WAP, right? So a lot of people have chimed in on the discussion. A lot of the people, like me, felt that there was nothing wrong with the song as well as the video. A lot of people, however, felt that it was, out of line, and it was, low class, and it was demoralizing to women and all this and all that, right? So you have women and men pretty much divided on a freaking song, right? So CeeLo Green, Mr. CeeLo Green himself, I'm sure you guys remember CeeLo Green. He used to be with Andre 3000 and that whole group, and then he turned away. He started doing his solo act, right? So CeeLo Green decided he would chime in concerning female rappers, right? And he is questioning the morals of female rappers. And it kind of struck me as odd, seeing as how one CeeLo Green, I remember like 4, 5, 6 years ago. I don't know if you guys remember or not, but he was charged with drugging women in order to sleep with them. Okay, if that's putting it delicately. And I'm thinking, why is he questioning the morals of anybody? Okay, because you have to drug women to sleep with you. Little fat, stubby person. He's got a whole Napoleon complex going. And I'm thinking he ain't the one to be questioning the morals of nobody, because, like I said, he pled no contest to those charges. He was given 3 or 4 years probation. He was given community service and all this and all that, right? So I'm thinking he is not the one to be questioning anybody's morals about anything when you have to drug women in order to sleep with him. I guess he's into necrophilia or something. I don't know, but he ain't the one to be questioning nobody's morals, okay? About anything. So that's pretty much my commentary on CeeLo Green. I just found it interesting that he was questioning the morals of female rappers. Like, honey, you are not the one. Okay. As well as a whole lot of men and a whole lot of women that have been chiming in and trying to put down or demoralize these women. And you guys know that I have talked about this several times since the video dropped. I don't know why I have to keep talking about it, but I'm gonna keep talking about it because I do not appreciate men trying to police women's bodies, and I don't appreciate women, black women in particular, pick me for these men that are trying to police women's bodies. I don't understand that train of thought. Do you see what I'm saying? And so yeah, but CeeLo, he ain't the one to be talking about that. Okay, he's just not the one. Neither is, on a side note, before I go to the next subject, there's this guy on YouTube by the name of what's his name? Hold on, Kevin Samuels or something like that, right? So I see a lot of black hetero supposed, evidently, at least they're saying so, heterosexual black men supporting this guy named Kevin Samuels. Okay, now this guy named Kevin Samuels is supposed to be MGTOW, men going their own way, and they speak so highly of him. They support his videos. He's made really raunchy statements and disrespectful statements towards black women. He said something like, black single moms would make good side chicks. He's saying all these derogatory things about women. And I'm thinking, why are y'all listening to him? And, because a lot of gay people say that, heterosexual men in particular in the black community are all anti-gay and all of this and all that. Well, that wouldn't appear to be accurate because Kevin Samuels is a whole gay man. I'm thinking, can't they tell or do they care? Like as long as he's saying something that you want to say in reference against black women, you good with him. You don't care what he is, right? But you're supposed to care. But anyway, so much for moral standings or whatever in the black community. Do you see what I'm saying? So I just found that interesting. I'm thinking, oh, okay, it's like that now, child. Anyway, I just found it interesting as well. I said they following the whole gay man. But all right, of course he's gonna be MGTOW. Of course he's gonna be for men going their own way because he wants you to go his way, okay? But anyway, I found that fascinating. But they love us from Kevin Samuels right on it. It seemed like I don't be looking, but child, I be looking just like when I was looking. When so many black men, the whole manosphere almost did videos about Tommy Lauren, uh, the Republican Barbie doll, the racist Barbie doll, if you will. They were upset because she said that men are no good. She doesn't feel like men are no good, so they was upset. Honey, their little feelings was hurt because that little Barbie doll said that men weren't no good. And then I saw another man come on here talking about she wasn't talking about y'all black men. She was talking about them white men. You la la this and la that. No, she said all men. That black women have been saying that forever that men ain't no good. They're used to that, but evidently they were butthurt because a Anglo woman, a Republican Becky, came out and spoke and said that men are no good. So they've been in their fifties about it for days, child, and they've been crying and whining about it for days, right? And and by the way, when I get through with this video, I'm going to do a video on. I've been seeing also because I be surfing these YouTube streets, right? I've seen a lot of videos, um, speaking on submission of femininity and submission. Okay, and there is a lot of hey Iris Fire, how you doing? There is a lot of information when it comes to um submission, the art of submission, as well. Hey Manny, as well as you're gonna have to go back and listen to the beginning of the video, babes. I was talking about CeeLo Green at first, but I want to do a video about maybe I can talk about it here. It really ain't that deep to me about what submission really means, submission and dominance. Especially, and I think black people, some black people, they are really, hey, Alma eyes, they are really far behind when it comes to certain subjects. And I think that now, a lot of women, because there are a lot of pick me's running around here, okay, trying to figure out their roles. We talked the other day about how gender roles are changing and whatnot. So the thing to talk about now, evidently on the internet, is femininity, and you're looking at femininity from the viewpoint of patriarchy or from a male viewpoint, and that is not the correct way, in my opinion, to approach femininity, especially if you are a woman speaking to other women. And moreover, when you're speaking about submission, they're really trying to put a different type of spin on it, but at the root of the whole submission conversation is the conversation surrounding submission and dominance and BDSM as it pertains to the BDSM world, right? And they're trying to manipulate it and turn it into black women submitting to black men. And they are also coming up short because I've seen a couple of videos. You're also coming up short when you're speaking about submission. Then now, when I talk about submission, I mean this can be across the board. Any race of woman. When you're talking about submission, you should never talk about it in the context of trying to figure out how to be subservient to a man because that is not a true form of submission. Submission just simply means, and just on the side note here, right? Submission simply means that you surrender your power and you agree to be underneath another system of power, right? You're surrendering your power, you're surrendering yourself, if you will, to be in servitude to a male, if we're talking about male female heterosexual relationships, right? And when you use that type of terminology, especially if you are a woman, it's very dangerous, because submission and dominance, if it is not fully understood, it can turn into a very bad situation. Okay, especially when you're dealing with a whole lot of dysfunctional men. So I just found it troubling when I've seen these videos coming out of the mouths of black women speaking on submission, how you should submit to your man. You're not using it in the proper context. Like I said, you're using it in a very misogynistic context. And that is unfortunate, because to truly be submissive as it pertains to the BDSM world, or submission versus dominance, when you're talking about submission and dominance, the first thing that you have to realize, if you were really well versed and not just trying to put something out there because you want to make yourself seem softer in the eyes of men that you don't even know online, you're probably not even believing half the crap that you're saying in the first place, okay? And I'm hoping that's true. But you got a lot of women falling for the okey doke. They have simply been online in these little manosphere chat rooms too long, and they are falling, and they're really listening to men that have very low self esteem. And so for that reason, when you talk about the subject of submission, you're talking about it through the eyes of a very weak emasculated man, and that's a problem, because when you talk about, hey Jen, submission and dominance as it pertains to the BDSM world, like I said, they try to manipulate it, right? You will know that if you are truly submissive in a BDSM relationship, to submit means it means that you are the one that's in power. When you're dealing with a submissive and a dominant in a BDSM relationship, the submissive knows that she has the power. Okay? When it comes to the man and the woman in the relationship, right? Or even if the role is reversed, whoever the submissive is, that is the one that has the power. Because more times than not, as it pertains to BDSM, and I'm talking about it in the context of BDSM, is because, black people is scary, they're real scary about certain subjects. You see how scary they was just the other day when you saw the whole WAP video. You see how they want to be all pro woman, and then they backtrack when they see a woman, really celebrating her womanhood. Okay, that's what I call it, right? They can talk about their peen all day long. They can make all kind of rap videos about the praising their penis and all of this and all that. But when a woman goes to praise her vajayjay, all of a sudden it's a problem. That is why I say they're trying to wrap the subject of BDSM. They're trying to wrap it up into a tight bow, because really that's all they're talking about. Okay, but let me talk about it. Let me tell you what the deal is. Cause hey, do you see what I'm saying? It don't matter. All right, so. Uh, as it pertains to submission and dominance, like I said, in a BDSM context, is which that is what they don't want to say in a lot of these videos, but they are talking about it in a BDSM context, in a context of submission and dominance. Like I said, the submissive is the one that's really in control. The submissive is really in power, and if you were really well versed in the art of submission, you would know this. And if you really knew this, you would not be, misconstruing the whole subject and informing these women in the wrong way. Okay, because if you are a dominant, male or female, okay, and sometimes the role can be reversed. Let's talk about this as in the context of the woman being submissive, okay, because you have a whole lot of women talking about submission, and so we're going to talk about female submission, okay, but a man can be a submissive also, okay, but today we're going to talk about female submission, right? So female submission, as it pertains to BDSM, the sub and the dom, right? The submissive and the dominant. The submissive has the control. The submissive has the control because the dominant, more time than not, is a masochist or a sadist or a sadomasochist, okay? And what they do is they get off on pain. They have really no natural affinity to anything other than giving or receiving pain. That is why the submissive has the control. The submissive has the control Because if you're in a true BDSM relationship, you have certain disciplines that you have to follow, and if you don't follow certain disciplines, things can get out of hand. Because you're dealing with a dominant, and the dominant is either sado or masochist or sadomasochist. That's why you have to have control of the situation. You have to practice self-discipline. So since the dominant, for whatever reason, can't control his urges, he needs to be disciplined enough to know that when you say stop, you mean stop, or he could get himself in a lot of trouble. He could hurt you. He could, just pretty much end your life if you've gotten that far into it. And so for that reason, the submissive has to be stronger. She has to be mentally stronger because she's choosing to submit to what it is that he needs her to do. Okay, and what he needs her to do is to allow him to administer pain on whatever level it is that you're choosing to administer the pain on. And when I say administer the pain, I also would, you get into that's just the least of it. Okay, you have to be strong enough also to allow him the illusion of leading you, because a dominant is a very he's really very, how can I put this? He is really very insecure about himself, okay? And so I can see why you when you have black women on here talking about submission, they're talking about it in context as it's referring to black men, because black men, we know that their egos are very fragile. Okay, same thing for a BDSM relationship. The ego of the dominant is very fragile. So you have to be strong enough and disciplined enough, if you are the submissive, to allow him to think that he is in control of the relationship. Okay, so how do you do this? You do this through many ways. If you are the submissive, you are stronger, you are mentally stronger. So you have to learn to control your emotions. Okay, and when you're talking about this subject, especially to black women, and you're talking about it through a misogynistic lens, and you're not telling the black woman that she has to first learn how to control her emotions if she's going to be willing to say that she's going to submit to anybody's authority other than hers. It takes practice. And the first thing that you have to practice, you have to become disciplined and self-control. You have to control your emotions. Because we know as black women, we are very emotional. A lot of us are very alpha. We are very strong. Okay? And if you don't practice emotional control and self-control and self-discipline, you will just end up lording over the person. Okay? So many black women have been told for so long that you are uh you a strong black woman, and they mean that in a derogatory sense, to where now you have black women trying to downplay their strength, trying to submit to dysfunction, and that is a problem. When you agree to submit to dysfunction, it is a problem. Okay, you never want to try to submit in a BDSM relationship or even in a vanilla relationship. You never want to submit to somebody that is not able to really control themselves, that is not worthy of your cooperation, is what it is. And when you are a submissive and you are mentally stronger, because a true dominant has certain proclivities, and he's weak because of those things that he needs, right? You are mentally stronger. And because you are mentally stronger, if you are not careful, like I said, the thing can go left and it's not going to work, because he's going to piss you off because you haven't practiced self-discipline, and it's just not going to work. Okay, because there's only so much you're going to be able to deal with. All right, but if you practice uh, self-discipline and controlling your emotions, I can see it. I can see it working, but it has to, in the context of black women, because a lot of us are alpha. You have, it's really not about submission or dominance. It's really about working together. It all goes back to reciprocity, especially when we're talking about black people, because black women, for a whole lot of reason, we have learned to be strong uh, in order to survive. Okay, your basic instinct is to survive, And because a lot of us know that we are unprotected, we have developed a very unique a set of traits that aren't attributed to a lot of other races of women, and we can survive and we can compete at the level of a man in a whole lot of situations. Maybe not so much as strength, okay, unless they like 5 foot tall and like 100 pounds something, but mentally we can compete, and we know that mentally we can survive and we can thrive. You're seeing that now. You have a lot of black women going into politics, for instance, because they are dominating and they are thriving because they have learned to survive. Do you see what I'm saying? And they have to survive because for themselves they have to know how to survive because they don't have a choice because you've been rendered right now on a physical level. Not yeah, no, 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 not all can compete on a physical level. Raw strength. You know what I mean? No, you know what I mean. But outside of raw strength, what do they have? You know what I mean? But we are mentally stronger. Do you see what I'm saying? And so anyway, I lost my train of thought. Uh, I'm straying off to the subject. But anyway, I just want to mention that about the conversations that I'm hearing is that they pertain to dominance and submission, and how black people are trying to wrap it up in a nice, Christian type bow. Do you see what I'm saying? But you're really only talking about BDSM, and it goes against the nature of a lot of black women in particular to be to live under that description of submission that they're trying to push out to you. And I wanted to mention that because if you're not careful, a lot of women will be questioning themselves. Why can't I, be more submissive in a relationship? Why can't I, just be willing to be, totally turn myself over to a man and let him lead me? Why can't I do that? And I just told you why. Because we have developed a unique a set of traits because we have had to, because we have to survive. We don't have a choice. Do you see what I'm saying? We don't have a choice. We are a lot of times, hey Snazzy girl, a lot of times we are left to fend for ourselves. So when you are left to fend for yourself, you will learn how to survive. And in you learning how to survive, you will start to thrive. Okay? And once you've developed these traits in you, you then have to turn around and redefine femininity. Okay? That's right, you have no choice. You don't have a choice but to survive. You know. So nature, the law of nature requires you to survive, by any means necessary at the end of the day. Okay, if you just really want to break it down. And that is what we have learned to do. We have learned to survive. And because we have learned to survive, because we are mentally stronger, we have learned to thrive. And you can't go back. You can't roll back the hands of time, no matter how these men want you to. You simply cannot grow back. You keep seeing women making more strides, thriving in a hostile environment. Do you see what I'm saying? On every level, we're surviving and we're thriving. And we are also starting to learn, in my opinion, a lot of women, especially I'm proud of a lot of young women, um, because a lot of young women are starting to realize that you may want a man in your life, but you don't need one. It's not it's not a be all end all like it once was. Hey, Lady Tia, like it once was. Because once, a woman, her goal was to, grow up, get married, be a homemaker and raise children. Do you see what I'm saying? And the man would go out and provide, for the family. Do you see what I'm saying? And because, like I said, roles or gender roles are being redefined, a lot of us, or a lot of women, especially young women, are choosing career, as a matter of fact, over family, over children, even though they want to keep pushing that narrative of the single mother, like the gay Kevin Samuels guy. And like I said earlier, he said that single mothers are great side chicks. Then you want to So they can't hardly push the single mother narrative anymore because, like I said, young women in particular are choosing career over family. They're choosing career over kids. So since they know that, they see the single mother rate dwindling. Now they're trying to harp on, oh, these black women killing all these kids. They having all these abortions. Blah. They're not giving the man the right to choose whether he wants to have whether he wants her to have an abortion or not. We're not getting a choice. Well, number one, you're not supposed to have a choice because that is you trying to police women's bodies. Like I said, I believe I said it yesterday. I don't understand why so many black men are trying to police black women's bodies. Okay, they say they don't want you. They don't want nobody else to have you. They don't want you to. They don't want you to thrive without them. You have learned to thrive, and now they look down on you because they say, "Oh, she's strong," or "She won't let me lead." Well, number one, she won't let you lead because she's not used to you leading. It's because you have been absent forever, honey. What is she supposed to do? Like I said, so either you survive or you die. That is the law of the jungle. And a lot of young women are choosing to, like Big Talents being going their own way. A lot of these women are choosing to go their own way. They are choosing to survive and they are choosing to thrive. Okay? And you can't, like I said, you can't have it both ways. So they are unhappy. They're not happy with nothing. And a lot of reasons why a lot of these men, especially younger men, I've noticed, can't be in they aren't in relationships. And it's because a lot of women, because we have adapted, okay, and we talked about that a few minutes ago, because we have adapted, a lot of women simply don't have time to pacify whiny men. If you are a whiny man, you are going to bore that woman and she is not going to want to deal with you. She don't care about what you had to deal with at work. She don't care about what you had to deal with your mama or your last baby mama or your ex-wife or the fact that you can't da 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 and da 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 da. She's going to friend zone you. That's what she's going to do because she don't have time to listen to you whining. Okay? Oh, my ex-girlfriend, I had to break up with her because she wore weave and I like natural hair. Or oh my ex-girlfriend, she took out, I wanted her, I didn't want her to have weave and she went natural. Like I said, they're not never satisfied. First they want you to take a weave out and be natural. And then they got mad because you was natural and they want you to put the weave back in. Ain't nobody got time for all of that. They are going to lay you by the wayside. Do you see what I'm saying? They don't have time. You know, that's right. You're right, Almond Eyes. And women are seeing that, and they are not dealing with the feelings. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. They are going to friend zone you, and she is going to go her own way. Do you see what I'm saying? And men know this. They know that we don't have time to stroke their egos anymore. I don't have time to wait for you to come home from work because I've been at work. And when we both get home, I done had a hard day too. I'm working in the world just like you are. So why do I have to be worried about what your day was like, and only worry about your day? And by the time you get through talking about your day and me, patting you on the back and making you feel like a man again, do you see what I'm saying? By that time, you don't even want to hear nothing I got to say about my day. So you go on and you go about your business, never asking me how my day was in the first place. You see how that works? And that is why a lot of women, like I said, particularly young women that have chosen career, you see what I'm saying, over family and a man and kids and a whole bunch of stuff. Do you see what I'm saying? That is why they have done that. They don't have time to placate you. They simply do not have time. And a lot of men and they know this. That's why they whining and complaining about every little thing, including Cardi B and a freaking Megan Thee Stallion 4-minute video. Like it's a big dust up over that. And the only people agreeing with them about a freaking video is pick me women. The pick me's, okay? Because there are a lot of pick me's out here. Okay? And so it's just unfortunate. Ain't nobody got time for that. Life goes on. Get over it. Did you see what I'm saying? It goes on. Get over your whining and move it right along. And then I found it interesting about CeeLo Green saying that he questioned the morals of female rappers. And like I said, he was drugging women. Do you see what I'm saying? In order to sleep with them, he even went as far as saying if you wake up the next morning, you can't tell if you've been raped or not. Is it really rape? It's not rape. He even said something ratchet like that. You see what I'm saying? And so it's disgusting that women, the pygmies, are listening to these very unfortunate little men. But it's a lot of them out there, and ain't nobody got time for that. Okay, yeah, Lady Chill, look it up. That's what he said. He said that in his defense because he was charged with drugging women in order to sleep with them. And that's the most delicate way I can put it. Do you see what I'm saying? But don't nobody have time to deal with the nonsense that's going on when it comes to these men right now. Do you see what I'm saying? You simply don't have time. So when you hear them whining and complaining about Megan Thee Stallion and a Cardi B, you know what you need to tell them? Well, you caught. That's what you wanted. That's what you wanted. Remember when you was making all these video vixens do all these things in the video? You seen all these video vixens with this long weave and wearing very little clothes and twerking and all of this and all that. So women said, "Hey," black women said, "Hey, this what these black men want? Okay, so I'm going to become this so I can make my black man happy." Okay, so they let down their moral compass a little bit, and they started doing these things. Do you see what I'm saying? And so now they're starting to do those things, but they're not doing those things for you. Hey, Cloud, they're doing those things, for him. They're not doing them for the man. They're doing them for themselves. Okay, they're profiting off of that. Do you see what I'm saying? But if you're doing it for them, it's okay. But if you're doing it for you to profit you, all of a sudden now they're going to question your morals. Okay, your morals have to be questioned now. But who taught them women, these black women, that this is what you wanted? The man did. Okay, so she tried to accommodate you and let her morals down to your standards, and now you ain't even good with that. You see how that works? They not never satisfied. But like I said, a lot of women, a lot of young women in particular, are starting to realize that. And if you don't come correct, they won't deal with you at all. They'll just go on. Because they know that around the corner there's just gonna be another one anyway. And if he ain't acting right, she can friend zone him too. Because like I said, it's not imperative, it is not a must anymore that you be involved with a man. It is a want, it is not a need anymore. And it is a want only for some. You see what I'm saying? So it's just how it is. It's just life. Time goes on. Time marches on. Either you adapt or you don't. Either it's fight or flight. You see what I'm saying? And so, yeah. Yeah. No, I didn't know that he put out a remixed version of WAP. I'm sure it's absolutely disgusting because he probably talking about an eggplant emoji. But I expect that from somebody like Safari. You know what I mean? I expect that from somebody like him. I ain't surprised. You see what I'm saying? Don't he have an OnlyFans page with his girl Erica Mena? Why are we surprised about that? You know. Yeah, you should never put up with a man that's not on your level. That's another thing. I'm glad you mentioned that because a lot of women think that in order to deal with a man, you have to deal with a dusty or or somebody that is not on your level educational wise or even job wise. You think that you have to deal with that. Well, a lot of women used to think that, but like I said, now it's no longer a need, it's a want, and it's a want sometimes. Do you see what I'm saying? You don't need him. You may want him, okay, but you don't need him. And because you don't need him and you may only want them, you don't have to put up with anything that's beneath you. Anything that's causing you grief in any kind of way, you should not put up with it. Okay? You don't have to. It's not necessary. You have low self esteem. if you are willing to deal with and placate a man that is beneath you. And I don't even mean monetarily. In every way, if he is mentally beneath you, you don't need to deal with him. He can make more money than you. Okay? But if he is mentally beneath you, you need to leave him alone. Okay? Because he's only wasting your time. You know. And so, yeah. Yeah, nobody's looking for a diamond in the rough anymore. They want you already done. Okay? Because ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time to be sanding down that rock until you get to that small diamond. Nobody has time anymore. Time marches on. You gotta let him go. You gotta be strong enough to let him go. Okay? And I'll tell y'all something real fast. You know why black men, a lot of black men, not all, and but a lot of black men, they be online complaining about Oprah. A lot of black men hate a lot of, not all, but they have a lot of the reasons why they don't like, somebody like a Oprah Winfrey. But in my opinion, the number one reason why they don't like Oprah Winfrey is not because she speaks, derogatorily about black men, and sometimes, and not all the time though. The number one reason a lot of these men don't like Oprah is because she exposed that down low lifestyle. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, when she exposed that down low lifestyle, she pushed down until Oprah said it. I'm not gonna lie, I had never ever heard of a down low man. Okay, until I seen it on the Oprah show. That is the first time I heard of a down low man, and she had to explain to me what it was because I had no idea. But I think that a lot of men at the end of the day don't like Oprah because she exposed the down low lifestyle. She pushed that lifestyle into the forefront, and she pushed the lifestyle into the forefront because it was hard for people to figure out at first why so many heterosexual black female women were being diagnosed with HIV/AIDS. Do you see what I'm saying? That is why she had that show. But see, they're not telling you that part. That is why a lot of black men don't like Oprah. Okay, not because she speak derogatory about black men across the board, because she exposed that down low lifestyle. And she wouldn't have had to do that if so many men, so many heterosexual black women wouldn't have been coming up with HIV/AIDS. That is why she did. That was the whole purpose for that show. That was the whole purpose for it. Trying to figure out why so many heterosexual black women, why the HIV/AIDS epidemic exploded so much between, in the female heterosexual black females. That is why she did that. You see what I'm saying? And so but a lot of men, they had to start coming correct about that. You know what I mean? So yeah. Yeah, I did a video about him, Markeith. His name was Markeith or Rivers or something like that. Yeah, my video is still up about him, the download detective. Yeah, But that is why a lot of men don't like Oprah. And then you get that gay guy on here, Kevin Samuels. He says he's MGTOW. Okay, of course he's in favor of men going their own way, because he wants you to go your own way with him, honey. But you got so many heterosexual, so they claim to be heterosexual men on here just raving about Kevin Samuels. I mean, they've had whole discussions and arguments on the manosphere side about Kevin Samuels. He a whole gay man. Okay? So of course he gonna tell you that a side chick, a single mom, is a good side chick. Of course he gonna say that to you. Do you see what I'm saying? But you heterosexual enough to speak derogatorily about what you don't like about the black woman because you feel inferior to her, but you're gonna turn around and twerk for this gay man. Now, not saying there's anything wrong, you know, wrong with it, because like I said, gender roles are changing. But let somebody like what's that Pose guy name? He did a video a couple of months ago admonishing the black community for being homophobic. And I'm thinking, well, have you been on YouTube? Have you watched the Black Manosphere? Because they're twerking and praising and bussy bopping and everything else for that Kevin Samuels guy. He a whole gay man. They're supposed to be heterosexual. So how's the black community is so homophobic? I'm confused by that. Because according to Black YouTube, That's really not true at all. Okay, the way they worship this Kevin Samuels guy. All right, I'm just saying, and so it just is what it is, you know. I'm just saying, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have noticed that if you have seen any of his videos, you know he gay. You know your gay will be going off the Richter when you see him, because he is. Claude said, I have no idea who that is. I know that's right, Claude. But yeah, but anyway, I didn't mean to stay on that subject so long, but because we're almost at an hour, I'm going to have to switch gears here real fast, okay? But it just amazes me the amount of hypocrisy going on in misogyny and just really just as it pertains to black men and black women and the warped ideas. They can't stand, they don't want you talking like your grandmama used to talk to you, when your grandmama used to tell you don't be laying down with them and waking up with nothing more than a wet behind, okay? They don't want, because they know your grandmama was telling you to level up. You ain't gotta stand for nothing, okay? I mean, you ain't got to fall for any old thing. Stand up for yourself. Know your self worth. They don't like you to have those conversations. Do you see? Especially, they don't like you having those conversations around young women, because they're very perverse in their mentality, and they think that they if they get a hold to young women, they can mold that young woman into, they can beat her down with words, especially, and mold her into what they want her to be, not knowing the whole time that she may be on your level at first, but she's going to grow up mentally, and she's going to leave you alone. Okay? Yeah. And no, I'm glad you said that. Ladies, don't devalue yourself for a piece of D. Why would you? Because when it comes to a lot of women, it may take a while, but you will find a mush who mesh with you. Yeah, like I said, it should never be. It shouldn't even be a need anymore. It should be a want. Do you see what I'm saying? You should not never settle. Like, why do you have to settle? There's so much going on in this world that you don't have to settle. And why is D on the that ain't even the first thing on the, not all women. Now you got some women, the ones with white liver and the ones that, think they're only worth that sort of thing. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, D is up at the front of the brain. But when it comes to women, what should the first thing, sex starts in the female, in the mind. For a lot of us, it starts in your head, not your body part. And I think that's important because our sexual organs are on the inside, whereas men's sexual organs are exposed. Okay, they so far away from their brain to where that thing that's on the outside of them, it literally leads them around. Do you see what I'm saying? But for a woman, it's different. So meant to be mentally stimulated, in my opinion, for a lot of women is a lot more important than physical stimulation. It's the mental aspect of it all. Do you see what I'm saying? But you, like I said, you got some women to where the physical aspect for it all is pushed to the forefront. But for a lot of us, it's about the mental stimulation. Do you see what I'm saying? And so, yeah, that the act, that's just the end of it. That's just the icing of the cake after you have been stimulated mentally. Do you see what I'm saying? In my opinion, you know. And so, yeah. Yeah. Now, if you had a dude that told you sex didn't mean nothing to him, he meant don't mean nothing to him when it comes to you. But I bet it mean everything to him when it comes to another man. And that, I'm just keeping it real. And so I don't blame you for leaving him alone. Because that's a lie. Sorry about that. That was a big lie. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyway, guys, I'm gonna right along because I'm gonna say the album. Let me finish this out, okay? So if you looked at my thumbnail, if it's still on there. And I just wanted to talk about that. It lasted longer than I thought it was, but I had so many topics to talk about. I figured I'd try to talk about them all at one time because ain't nobody trying to do 2 or 3 videos. I don't get numbers like it no more. So let me put it out. You guys are always logging on, always interacting. And I appreciate this is my crew here this afternoon, and I know you guys feel where I'm coming from. Okay, I'm glad you guys are on here. So let's switch gears for a minute because you guys know I also like to talk about politics. We know this, right? So real fast, Donald Trump, a couple of hours ago, he was doing his regular, he started doing the coronavirus briefings again and all of this and all that, right? So we know that he been trying to trick the public since I guess Friday or Saturday and saying that he was gonna sign an executive order in order to give relief to coronavirus, to give give out some coronavirus relief, right? And so they called him on it and said that they can because he doesn't really have the power to do that, and they can sue him and hold him up and hold that relief up in court. Billy Porter, thank you, Claude. That's why I was talking about Billy Porter. So he can hold that. They can hold him up in court, talking about this money that he wants to disperse, right? Because he doesn't have the authority to do that, right? So he's running game. He know that he don't have the authority to do that, right? So that's one thing he got called out on because he hoodwinking the people. He trying to bamboozle you into thinking that he's doing everything for you when he really doesn't have the authority to do that, right? So he got called out on that. Okay, the second thing, which was hilarious, somebody finally had the balls, and it was one of the press. They finally had the balls to call him out on a lie that he been telling forever since he's been in office for the past 4 years. They called him out on the fact that he's been going around for years saying that he passed the Veterans Rights Act or the Veterans. I had the name of it in my mind, but it's pretty much an act or a bill set forth in order to help veterans in every way. You know what I mean? With mental health help, medical help, monetary help, housing, drug abuse, PTSD, all of that stuff. Because we know that our soldiers, sometimes when they come back from combat, they have a very hard road. That's why you have a lot of veterans homeless right now, and a lot of that is due to mental illness, right? So he has been touting for years that he signed that bill into law in order to help the American veterans. Well, somebody called him out on it today because that bill had actually been set forth in 2014, and the person that set that bill forth was Barack Obama. Okay, it was not Donald Trump. And so Donald Trump got upset because somebody finally caught him on his lie. He's been touting that bill, like I said, since he's been in office, and he did not sign that bill into effect. He did not create that bill. Barack Obama did. He passed that piece of legislation. So they called him on it today, and he's of course, he couldn't answer the lie because he got called out on it. So he stormed off. Okay? You're right about that, Cloud. You're absolutely right about that. So he stormed off and he made this ugly face. Yeah, he had a tantrum again and stormed off because they caught him on his lie. You taking credit, and that ain't the only thing that he took credit for that Barack Obama did in office. Do you see what I'm saying? So he did that, right? So that happened. That's one thing I want to talk about. The next thing I want to talk about was I had a question. Under the current climate, and we see a lot that's going on, do you think that Donald Trump will be president for another 4 years? And at first I had hope, but as we start talking about the pandemic is still going on. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. There should not be a debate when it comes to Democrats or Republicans when it comes to talking about relief packages because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes, he had a very good chance of winning again, and let me tell you why. But there should not be if you really was a servant, and as a civil servant, it is your responsibility to serve the public, right? That is what you are supposed to do. The public is not supposed to be serving you. You are supposed to be serving the public. That is what you are. That is your job. You know, that is what you are supposed to do. So let me tell you why I think that. Now, I thought we had a glimmer of hope at first, but if you just really be quiet and start listening and pay attention to what's going on, you'll see that Donald Trump, as well as Joe Biden, and another thing about Joe Biden, I think it's funny that his wife is doing more interviews about him than he's doing about himself. And when he does speak, he says something, you know, darn near racist, and it's questionable. Okay, so it would make sense that she's doing more talking about him and his presidency than he is. Because every time he opened his mouth, he say something stupid. Just the other day, he made a comment about saying that the black community is not diverse at all, as opposed to the Latino community. The Latino community is very diverse, he says, and the black community is not. Now, before that, he said that what was it about the black folks? Oh, you ain't black if you vote for Trump. Every time he talk, he stick his foot in his mouth. Okay? Every time he opened his mouth. And so for that reason, his wife does a lot of these interviews, a lot of these television interviews for him. Well, and then he gonna be 78 years old if he's elected president, and he act like he about halfway senile anyway. Okay? And you know how old white men do. You know, the older they get, you know, the less they can hide the racism. Do you see what I'm saying? They can't hardly hide it anymore. And he's just gotten like really old, you know, and he lets this stuff slip out of his mouth. And then he'll have to come back and retract it. You know, that is problematic. And so for that reason, yeah, Donald Trump, that's the number one reason that Donald Trump can win the election again. The number two reason is something real shady that happened here in my great state of Tennessee, right? Okay? So, let me tell you what happened. So, last Thursday, we had a general election, right? And so, in this general election, and if you look at my thumbnail, I'm sure you're wondering who is that black lady on the thumbnail, right? So, let me tell you. Absolutely, Cloud. I'm getting to that. So let me tell you what happened. So the lady on the thumbnail with the afro, her name is Bradshaw, Marquita Bradshaw. So Marquita Bradshaw, she was running for to be she was running to be the Democratic senatorial candidate, right? Because Senator Lamar Alexander of the state of Tennessee, he's retiring, right? And so that leaves is going to leave his Senate seat open, right? So Marquita Bradshaw ran to be considered the nominee against the Republican candidate, right? Nobody expected her to win. She ran up against this white guy by the name of James Mackler. Now, James Mackler is a ex Army helicopter pilot, and he is a white man, of course, and he is a lawyer now, a very prominent now lawyer in Nashville, Tennessee, right? And he also had the backing of more than $2 million. He also had the backing of the Democratic Senatorial Committee. They were all backing him, right? Because he was supposed to win this nomination so that he could run against the Republican Haggerty. And Haggerty is a former UN, a former what do you call it to Japan, a former ambassador to a former UN ambassador to Japan or something like that, right? So Haggerty, you know, he was backed by Trump, and of course he won his bid to run for Lamar Alexander's seat. So the person set to win the Democratic seed was this white man, this ex-Army helicopter pilot, lawyer by the name of James Mackler. So this black woman by the name of Marquita Bradshaw, she is was born and raised in Memphis. She is a social justice warrior. She advocates for she speaks out against environmental racism, and when environmental racism, and she's also you know, I'm not gonna call her a Black Lives Matter advocate activist because she's not. She advocates for the rights of black people, right? But what she advocates for is the end of racism as it pertains to the environment, right? And what that means is because a lot of you don't hear a lot of people talking about environmental activists. Let me tell you what an environmental activist is. An environmental activist is a person against racism that because they realize you know how like what was it, Michigan or somewhere where they had like that dirty water and they still have that dirty water. All those people was getting sick. All those black people was getting sick, and they were saying, but in the other part of town the water was fine. But in that black neighborhood, and they say even today you have to go out and get bottled water to drink it, and they don't even know how many what our illnesses is going to stem from that bad water. Flint, Michigan. Thank you, Cloud. Flint, Michigan. Okay, she speaks out about stuff like that. She also an environmental activist. Also speaks about food disparities in the black community. We have a lot of food deserts in the black community, and what a food desert is like you can be living in a whole community and there will be no grocery store. You might have a couple of small, like a 7-Elevens or something like that, but as far as grocery stores, you don't have a grocery store in your vicinity so that you maybe can get proper food for your children, for your family, because you may not have a car. If you are in a socioeconomically depressed neighborhood, you might not own a car. The bus might not take you where you need to go, and can you put all of these groceries that you need to buy? Can you own a bus? You might not be able to afford a cab. Do you see what I'm saying? And stuff like that. So that is a food desert. Do you see what I'm saying? And yes, you have black communities getting bad meat and veggies. That constitutes a food desert as well because you don't have a way to get the proper fruits and the vegetables that you need. Do you see what I'm saying? To maintain a proper diet. That's why you have so many overweight people, a lot of overweight people in socioeconomically depressed black communities. Because it's cheaper for you to go out and get a McDonald's burger as opposed to buy a bag of apples, if you will, or buy a salad. Do you see what I'm saying? You get a McDonald's burger for $1 and a salad to be $5 or $6. Do you see what I'm saying? And so but she advocates against all that kind of stuff that affects you on an environmental level. Do you see what I'm saying? And so, and as well as pollution, as well as a lot of socio-economically depressed neighborhoods, they have things like garbage dumps in their neighborhoods and stuff like that, creating bad air quality and stuff, right? So anyway, that is environmental racism. All right, weaponizing your own environment against you. Okay, using your environment to commit genocide against you. That is what she's activist. She's fighting to end that sort of thing, right? And so anyway, like I said, she was going up against this man. Now this is Tennessee. She was going up against this white man, ex-army, helicopter pilot, raised over $2 million, had the backing of the whole Democratic Party for the seat to run against Haggerty. Okay, which Trump backed Haggerty, right? He raised over $2 million, right? She only raised like a little bit over $8,400. Now catch this, right? Now this is why I say Donald Trump is probably going to win the election again if they're going to keep doing stuff like they did in Tennessee. Now, mind you, Tennessee is pretty much our Republican, okay? And it's the government, the Democrats haven't held a seat of, a Senate seat since 1990 or either 94, right? It's been white people, right? All white people. We know that the state of Tennessee, by and large, is very racist, okay? Y'all should have seen some of these commercials that Haggerty put out against this man named Manny Seppi. Black babies' lives matter. They calling you crazy if you wanna. They saying that if you don't protest for Black Lives Matter, they say that you're a racist. This all kind of really subtly racist things, right? Yeah, that's a huge difference. She raised a little over $8,400, and he raised over $2 million. All right. And so anyway, she ran against this man. But Marquita Bradshaw didn't run against James Mackler to win. She did not run against him to win. She ran against him in order to promote her activism. That's why she ran against him. She didn't even expect to win. That was not her goal to win this election, right? But she won. She won this election over this man that had the backing of the Democratic Senatorial Committee. He had raised over $2 million. He had all these white folks, backing him so that, and propping him up because they thought he would be able to defeat Haggerty. Do you see? And honestly, I think he had a chance of defeating Haggerty in order to give that seat to the Democrats. But Marquita won with $8,400 and a couple of campaign people working with her. She is not a politician. She is an activist. She did not expect to win. She won. Okay? She won this election. Now, y'all do know that the reason why she won is not because all these white folks voted for her, right? Somebody fixed something up. They didn't want James Mackler to win because he was competition for Haggerty. They know that Marquita, since she's a single mother, a black activist, raised in Memphis all her life, not a politician at all, didn't really want to win anyway. So they put her to run up against Haggerty. That was a whole setup. Okay? A whole setup. Can y'all see the writing on the wall? Can y'all see where I'm going with this now? How in the world did she win that election to go against Haggerty? How in the world was that possible? What do make that make sense? In the state of Tennessee, the racist state of Tennessee, this single mama from Memphis that's a black activist that really speaks out against environmental racism. That's a whole setup, right? Selected, not elected. That's a whole setup. The lady, I felt so bad for her because when she was giving her victory speech, she was in tears, not because she won, and not even because number one, she didn't expect to win, and number two, I think that it hit her like a ton of bricks. Like, hey, they used me. It ain't no way possible I'm supposed to be in this position right now. She's in that position because they didn't want Haggerty to have no competition, and they knew that James Mackler was his competition. So they set that whole thing up. And so if the Republicans have the power to do that in the state of Tennessee, how many other states are they going to set up for Trump to win? Do you see what I'm saying? That's why I want to mention that. I thought that was so shady. It was clearly an obvious setup. And the lady, if you see her face, I feel so bad for her because she knows she was set up. She wasn't even expecting to win. This was not her. That was not the goal. The goal was to draw attention to her plight, okay, to what she was advocating for. And she wasn't thinking about no darn sentencing because she's not a freaking politician. That was not even on the agenda. She wanted to shed light on environmental racism. Do you see what I'm saying? And so I was like, wow, they really did her like that. They really played her like that. They really played James Mackler like that. There's no way that he's supposed to have lost. He was the one supposed to be going up against Bill Haggerty, the Republican that Trump backed. But like I said, honey, all this lying and hoodwinking and bamboozling going on, then yes, Trump absolutely has a chance to win again in November, which he probably will, especially if, and I think that the Democrats, because the way that if you look at the way that, and another thing about that election, another part of the setup, let's take Joe Biden. Now we all know that as soon as Joe Biden chooses that black woman to run to be for his vice presidential candidate to run with him, as soon as he chooses that black woman and they done backed him in the corner, he don't want to choose a black woman. It's just that they done backed him in the corner. He's not going to have a choice. Do you see what I'm saying? But to choose a black woman, whether it's what is it, Kamala Harris, which is only half black anyway, and she really all white. But whether it's her or Stacey Abrams or whoever it is, as soon as he choose that black woman to run with him, he done lost the election. Automatic. That was a whole setup. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah, and I think it's all orchestrated. I really feel like the Democrats and the Republicans are working together. And I think they're working together. Now, this is just my opinion. They're all working together is because they're trying to bring about some kind of authoritarian one world government. And we know that that's been, theorized um forever. He will be ostracized. Yes, he will. And he know it. It's a setup. It's a whole setup. A lot of authoritarianism, if you're looking at it, has already sprung up in this country alone. Is it any wonder Putin, is even right now working hard for Trump to win the election once again? China don't want him to win, and so now they're coming out. Cloud, I agree. Yeah, Snazzy girl. They're moving towards more authoritarianism. Look at what happened in Georgia with Keisha Lance Bottoms and that what is this, the senator of the governor Kemp or whatever. He kept overriding her. He kept wanting to override her. He kept doing this. He kept doing that to the point where pushing the kids out there, calling in the National Guard, all of this and all of that to override her. Do you see what I'm saying? All in order to push forward Trump's agenda. You got kids coming down with COVID in mass numbers in Georgia because he demanded that the kids go back to school, using these kids for freaking human guinea pigs. Okay? I can't believe they did that to them babies in Georgia. All in order to push Trump's agenda that everything gonna be okay. It's all gonna be over soon. It's fine. And what he had the gall to say, I heard him say it last week, that kids are almost virtually immune to the coronavirus. That's a lie. They are predicting over 90,000 kids being infected, if not the coronavirus, a disease that is affecting the kids because of the coronavirus. Do you see what I'm saying? Yep, mine either, Lady Tia. Mine either. You know, it sure is. It sure is. It sure is. A snazzy girl, I agree. You know, what it said in the Bible, be not deceived, God is not mocked. Oh, yeah, because that's what they do when they mocking him. So I agree with you. But yeah, and as far as the coronavirus goes, um, yeah, right, Cloud, I agree. As far as the coronavirus goes and using these babies as guinea pigs in order to push forth a political agenda, I can't believe. Now, you got some white folks, they don't want to be all the way asleep, but they are so manipulated to where they can't see past their racism. You got white now. Don't get me wrong. This pandemic is real. I don't understand how you got people out in the street protesting against wearing a mask. But you know why they doing that? Cause they fell for the okie doke. They fell for when they were talking about on the news how black and Hispanic communities had higher cases of coronavirus as opposed to the Anglo. You see, they want you to think that they want them Anglos to think that it is black and brown people that are far more susceptible to the coronavirus. So when you feeding this to these people, and then you hear Trump saying, "Oh, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be over soon in a couple of months. Here, let me give you this money to tide you over." When these Anglos hear this white male patriarchy crazy man, saying stuff like this, and they are sheep anyway. They are so easily led. Do you see what I'm saying? By somebody that they feel is alpha, somebody that they feel is working in their best interest when he's not at all. Do you see what I'm saying? But they've heard all of this stuff. It will make sense to where they are out in the street, protesting against these mask mandates. It will make sense because they've been listening to all the lies. You can't tell me that those numbers are not skewed when it comes to black and brown people having more cases of the coronavirus in their community as opposed as the Anglo. That don't make sense to me. That is not logical to me. But they're hearing this stuff over and over again, and they're believing it. So when you get somebody like a Keisha Lance Bottoms, or either that mayor or governor, or whatever she is in Michigan, that female white woman telling you that if you don't keep this mask on your head, on your face out in public, I'm going to fine you up to $10,000. Of course, they're gonna be out the street protesting against it because they think that they are not susceptible with contracting the coronavirus because all the fake propaganda. It's the black and brown community's fault. It's not the white community's fault. Problem. It's a black and brown problem. It's not our problem. Of course, we'll get a few cases in the white community, but overall, that is not our problem. That's their problem. So why do we have to wear masks? You know. And so that, in my opinion, is the reason why they are protesting so hard to put on a freaking mask. It should be common sense. Yeah, she said she had COVID. She contracted COVID. The last time I heard anything about her and one of her sons, I believe, had been tested positive for COVID. Yeah, you're right about the almond eyes. So yeah, but I just would like to see the actual numbers because as it pertains to the numbers of black people, I truly believe, in my opinion, every black person that's dying, no matter what they died from, they saying it's from COVID. In order to back this lie that more people in the black and brown communities are more susceptible to contracting the COVID than the Anglos. That's a lie. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I really don't. I don't believe it for 1 second. But you're putting a lot of people in harm's way. And they're also starting this thing to where they're putting the COVID-19 tests are only 50% accurate. So that too, Cloud. And let me tell you about that COVID-19 test too, while we're on it. My nephew-in-law, Brandy's fiance, he's Ghanaian, right? And his brother is he was doing his clinicals in Virginia, right? Because he's going to be some kind of doctor. So anyway, he got hired uh in what is it, Grady Memorial, on one of them. He was hired at Grady emergency room, and I let the new doctors, they all start in the emergency room from what I understand, right? So anyway, before on his way from Virginia, because he drove down because he had to bring his car on his way from Virginia, and he had done his residency in Virginia, didn't have the COVID or anything like that. He stopped over in Knoxville and he was talking and he was saying that y'all are more likely to get, COVID before I get it because I work in a hospital setting, right? So he makes his way on to Atlanta to where he's now employed. And so before you can, I guess do anything in a hospital or whatever, you have to be tested, to see if you're positive or negative, for having the coronavirus. Mind you, he didn't have it the whole time he was working his residency up there in Virginia. Didn't have it, no signs, no nothing, right? So he comes down here to Atlanta and takes the COVID test. Didn't have no symptoms or nothing, right? Couple of days after that, after him taking the test, and he took that swab and stuck it up his nose and stuff, right? Couple of days after that, they tell him he tests positive for the coronavirus. After they tell him that, well, before he said his throat was already scratching after the test, wasn't scratching before, it was scratching after the test. Throat scratchy, the whole nine. He tested positive and all this and all that. Now, how is it that when you took the test, you know that you didn't have the COVID? You see what I'm saying? But after you take that test, you can't breathe, your throat hurt, and a whole bunch of other stuff. You see what I'm saying? It's crazy. I just found it very interesting. Very, very interesting. You know. So yeah, Tanya said, you're right. I know two people personally that died. They put COVID on a death certificate. Wow, they didn't have. Yeah, yeah. I believe that's how they're screwing those numbers when it comes to black people, and that's just my opinion. But I truly believe that. Yeah, but I thought that was very interesting that happened. You know. Yeah, you have to side eye that. It's fascinating to me. I'm like, how you figure? But yeah, that's what happened to that boy. Yep. I mean, he okay now. I mean, he didn't he ain't ended up on a ventilator, and it's been a couple of weeks since this happened, but still he got sick after that test. And then they have started because they noticed that a lot of people, a lot of black people, because we don't trust a lot of doctors and a lot of hospitals or nothing like that, because we know the history. We know that they have a history of experimenting on us black people. A lot of black people are not taking that COVID test to the point to where they are actually taking a lot of cities and counties are putting slapping these testing centers slap down in the middle of these black communities because they want black people to take the test. And a lot of black people ain't having it. It don't matter where they slap the testing facility, they're simply not having it. But they try to provide easy access for you, black person. They bringing a test to your community in hopes that you will take this test. And a lot of black people are not having that test because we don't trust them no way. That is why a lot of black people aren't taking the test. But they want to change that. You see what I'm saying? And they're hiring people to pass out flyers and stuff, people that they think you would be more apt to trust. You know what I mean? Like older women or middle-aged women. You see, for instance, they hiring them to give out the pamphlets and talking to you and talk to you and say, go get tested, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. Because they think if they can get these black people to talk you into it, you will be more apt to trust them and go get tested. That's real sneaky to me. That's real shady. You see what I'm saying? But it don't matter who they have giving out flyers or where they plop those test centers at. Black folks, they're not going to be lining up in droves to get a dang on COVID test because we don't trust them no way. You see what I'm saying? And so that's just real sneaky. But I think that's all I had to tell you guys. I believe I told y'all about Trump, Biden, and but yeah, all those things I mentioned about that shady election, that was to say that if Donald Trump, which one I'm gonna be shocked if he is not president again. Do you see what I'm saying? Because all of this stuff, it seems to be coming together. It's like one big puzzle, even when it comes to the COVID. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's just weird to me. You know, it's just really weird to me. And so it's so unfortunate. But like I told you guys a long time ago, before they show us any kind of respect or equality in this country, they'll burn it down first. They'll burn it to the ground. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's what we're witnessing right now. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just real sad, but that's what we're witnessing. I don't think that this country can stand 4 more years of Trump, and I think that that is the purpose because they're, like I said, they're moving towards a more authoritarian type of situation as opposed to a democratic situation. They're moving towards a more authoritarian or egalitarian system of government, a one world type government, a one leader type government. Donald Trump wants to be Putin. We've been knowing this for a long time, but perhaps he was put in that position for a reason. And now we are, in my opinion, seeing the unveiling of the reason. I remember before George Bush Sr. died, he was telling people, don't allow him to be elected. And nobody would listen to that man. And this is before he died. And before his wife died too, I believe, or maybe after his wife died. But he was saying no, don't do it. And just like he told Jeb Bush that you don't have a chance to win it right now, and he didn't have a chance to win, you know, because he knew. But see, what I don't like about these politicians, none of them, past, present, or probably even future, is they won't tell you the truth. They know the truth. They know what's going on. They won't tell you the truth to save their life. They won't tell the American people the truth. You kind of have to figure it out. By the time you figure it out, you still don't have all the information. But it's too late with the little information that you done figured out. You done put two and two together. Shoot, it's already too late then. You know. And so, yeah, that is absolutely, that is why they selected. Yes, this happened. It started happening when Obama was named the president of the United States, and he did 2 terms. That's right. That it was the plan then too. I absolutely agree with that. I absolutely agree with that because they knew it was going to lead these white folks. They was going to lose their freaking mind behind having a black president. Okay, and it was going to activate that whole racism, that latent racism that they all have deep down in their gut that they try to push down. They knew that they was going to activate that. You know, they knew that. So I absolutely agree with that. That is why he was selected, like you said, not elected, but selected, because that set off the chain of events. That's where we are now. Why we are in a situation that we're in right now with this fool. That's why he was selected too. He was selected for a reason as well. You got this whole song and dance up in the White House. It's a bad reality show up here. You got Mitch McConnell talking about, stay away from Donald, avoid Donald Trump at all costs. I'm thinking, yeah, right. Yeah, right. Bull crap. You got Donald Trump doing and saying whatever crazy thing he doing and saying. He is so inept, so not appropriate and absolutely underqualified, not qualified at all for this job to where it's laughable. It's like a whole big reality show. But it was a plan. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, in my opinion, I agree. You know. So yeah, yeah. But anyway, guys, I think that is all that I had to say. Like I said, I could have chopped this up into different videos, but like, why? So I'm just gonna get on here and talk about it all right now in one long video. You see what I'm saying? To get it over with. You guys know that I love politics as well as entertainment news. And so I figured, well, today I'm just gonna put it all in one because I can't be doing 2 or 3 videos, okay? That's too much. But you guys be safe. And also before I get out of here, what's going on with poor Azalea Banks? This COVID is really bad, doing bad things to people's mental health. And what's going on with them? You welcome, Sassy Girl. And what's the deal with Chicago? If they had a looting spree or a looting mob, or what is this? What are they spraying in the air? What is going on? You got people online like Azalea Banks cutting their hair off, talking about something they don't want to live no more. Tiffany Haddish cut her hair off. Who else did it? Tamar did it. We know Britney Spears did it a long time ago. That is clearly a sign of some kind of mental break going on. And I feel sorry for Azalea Banks. I feel sorry for her. God bless her. And I hope somebody will reach out to her. You know. That's so unfortunate. Yeah, she cut her hair off. It's a sign of mental illness. Yeah, she is speaking. Yes, yes, I agree, Snazzy Girl. Yeah, Tiffany Haddish cut her hair off. Yes, she did. You know. Well, she said she cut her hair off. She said she saw a doctor, and then she figured she just gonna cut her hair off. I'm like, well, what type of doctor did you see that convinced you that you need to cut your hair off? I didn't understand that. That's a mental issue, in my opinion. That's a cry for help when a woman cuts her hair off. You know, and so yeah, it's just it's just we don't really know what kind of experiments or what kind of chemicals they're spraying in these airs. You know, now we discussed this a long time ago, Snazzy Girl, months ago when it first started that this dang on virus was airborne. Uh huh. But they've even admitted to it being airborne, somewhat airborne. Let them tell it, somewhat. Azalea does have good music. I wish you would get back. I don't. I've never listened to the little girl's music, myself, but I just heard about them speaking about her cutting her hair off, and she's saying she want to be done with this world, and I hate to hear anybody talking like that. She said because of this coronavirus, and I just it's hard for you to take a look at yourself. But I mean, we've all heard the ranting, this girl ranting and raving on social media forever, And nobody ever stopped to think that she has some kind of mental issue going on. Clearly she does. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate, because we have so many people in the black community that never get help for mental illness. And I hope that this is a cry for help, and that she is, and I hope that no, we know you got a lot of people, a lot of mean people on social media in particular, because it even talk about in the Bible to where it says that we will no longer have any natural affection for one another. And a perfect example about that is how people act on social media. Okay, because people really only want to see a train wreck, and so I think they wait to see who the first person it is. Even we heard Nick Cannon talking like that. You know what I mean? And I think they're waiting for somebody to off themselves. Especially one of these entertainers, because of something that somebody said to him on social media. People are waiting to see that. Do you see what I'm saying? So yeah, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. They're waiting for that. They're waiting for somebody to jump off the ledge, so to speak, if you will. They're waiting for that to happen. That's why people are, or a lot of people are so mean on social media. You really have to have a uh, 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 strong backbone when you're dealing with social media, especially if you're speaking up on social media. You got to be dang near Teflon, okay? And a lot of people can't take that, even if it's a lot of people can't separate it. It's these people have no power over you. They're sitting behind a computer screen. They have no power over you. You know, but people, I think especially young people, like for them it's different. You know, because really, if you talking, somebody's talking to you derogatorily or otherwise, they have no power over you on this freaking internet. They just simply are typing stuff. Even if they're making videos about what they done pulled up, they act like what they find out on you about you, or what they think they find out about you on the internet. They act like that's gospel. And if they want to comfort you because of something they think they know, because of something they read online, they figure that's gonna shut you up in some kind of way. Do you see what I'm saying? But you have to realize that these people are behind a computer screen. You don't know these people. These people don't know you. So what they say really don't matter in the grand scheme of things. You know, more than ever before. Yes, they are suffering more than ever before. And a lot of it's because of this pandemic right now. Because people can't stand to be, when you are with yourself, you have to deal with yourself. And for a lot of people, it's absolutely horrifying to deal with yourself. You see what I'm saying? Joy said probably her bad behavior has finally pushed people away from her. I don't think it's bad, but well, it's bad behavior. But she's mentally ill. Why all those people that went away from her didn't try to get her some help? That's what I mean by nobody having any natural affection for anybody anymore. And it's taking its toll on her, or she's looking, or she's looking for attention. You don't know. Yeah, you don't know. But I hope she's just looking for attention. But no woman cuts her hair off online just cause she's looking for attention. That ain't the kind of attention that women want. Our hair is our crown. For a black woman to do that is a very drastic step. That's a little far to go to for attention. You know. And so, yeah, get the proper rest right now. Yeah, a lot of people can't rest because of this coronavirus. You see what I'm saying? She is, from what I understand, she off the chain. But does it? Okay, she's off the chain, but like, is that a reason for people to be insensitive towards her when she says she want to kill herself? Cause she off the chain. Is it okay, to laugh at her about her mental health issue? Does that make it okay? Because she done said a lot of derogatory stuff about black people. She's clearly got some self-hate issues going on, black men and black women. I've seen some of it. But does that give a person the right to completely have no kind of empathy or compassion or sympathy for her plight? Do you see what I'm saying? Is it okay for people to say, yeah, go on and do it? Go on and jump off the ledge. Let me see you do it. You know. And God forbid, what if she does it? And what are people going to do? Are they going to do her like they did Megan Thee Stallion and laugh at her? Because they whole laughed at Megan when she was shot in both of her feet. Like, I've never seen people laugh at somebody because they got shot. I've never seen that before. To know she appears to be reaching out, yeah, for help. Hopefully she gets, yeah, where's her, does she have family? Like, a lot of times, I think a lot of people online, these people don't have family. There are a lot of people in this world that don't have no family and that don't have no friends. And that's so sad, you know? And so it's horrible. I just I feel bad for anybody going through something like that, you know. And I hope that somebody, because I've seen a lot of people praying for her online. Maybe somebody can reach her, you know, you know. You said you agree. I hope she can get some help. I do too. I don't know much about her family. Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. But I don't even know if she got family. There's a lot of people in this world that don't have no family. You'd be surprised. It's a lot of people without anybody. You know, if I didn't have sisters, I wouldn't have, no family. You know what I mean? Because the older people in my family are gone. Thank God I got sisters. You know, I would have no family, no blood. It's a difference between being in a marriage or a relationship and family. Because, relationships are fleeting, family is forever. You know. And so, yeah. That's how it is in my world. Do you see what I'm saying? And so, yeah. 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 Now, I seen that when you say that about crime appears to be picking up, I heard that crime was going down. And they said that when you saying crime is picking up, they say that's propaganda. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but, who knows? You know. So I don't. DFW. Last week, 8 shootings. Wow. Every day on Facebook, the local journalists are always lying. Oh, really? Wow. That's crazy. They lying as usual. Maybe it's true for some places and not true for others. You know what I mean? Because I'm an eyes is saying, every day somebody gets shot where she live. Crime is not going down at all in DFW. What's DFW? But yeah, where I live, it's pretty just it's about the same. I guess I don't know. Through the they'll be live throughout the day. Oh, Dallas Fort Worth. Oh, okay. And you're in Texas. Oh, okay. All right. I had no idea what DFW was. I was like, what the world is DFW? Okay. All right. But anyway, y'all, I have been on here before I go, child, let me go on and leave you with this little tidbit of info too, this little tidbit of tea. I don't know if y'all saw it or not last night, but I saw the first installment of the Surviving Jeffrey Epstein. Child, it was lackluster. I said they didn't even do as good a job as Netflix. I thought they had some new information on it that Netflix didn't have. I sat up there for 2 hours and watched it, looking for a peep of new evidence. I ain't said nothing different. The only thing was different in the Netflix thing to me was they had that girl on. She was either really high yellow or she was mixed, and she was saying that black girls was not Jeffrey Epstein's uh uh oh Trump Trump is talking about an officer involved shooting. But anyway, yeah, they had that girl on there. She was either high yellow or she was mixed, and she was talking about yeah, nothing new at all. Eyes, and he didn't like black girls, and I'm thinking, well, thank God. And I seen a video that I'm thinking, was people or people really did they feel away because he only wanted Anglo girls and not black girls? And I was like, thank God he didn't like black girls. Thank you. Do you know how many girls, was saved from him because he don't like black girls? Thank you, Jesus. That's what I was thinking. Thank you. That's a good thing. Thank you for not wanting no black girls. Okay. And so anyway, but then I seen somewhere where they said that the island, his private island, is close to Haiti, and he actually grabbed a lot of girls from Haiti. I was like, oh my God. Shooting outside the White House? Oh, well, I got to cut on the news. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I'm not surprised. But yeah, I think people was slick, felt away because he was racist against black. He didn't want black girls to molest. I'm thinking, well, ain't y'all glad about that? But then they turn around and threw in Haiti. I'm thinking, do these people feel away? Because he didn't want to molest black girls? I'm like, what the hell? That's a good thing. But anyway, nevertheless, they didn't have any new evidence. They didn't shed no light on nothing new. I'm glad about that too. I'm a lady. I'm like, thank you, God. Thank you. Ugh. Thank you. Thank goodness. It is a great thing. It's a wonderful thing, in my opinion. So I agree. Child, people, right? So anyway, yeah, they didn't have and it was really boring. It did not. Maybe they have something different on tonight. But I sat there for 2 hours, okay, and all of that stuff that they were talking about, except for that mixed woman or the high yellow woman, all that other stuff, they had already covered that on the Netflix documentary. The Netflix documentary was better. I can see why they only gave it 2 nights, because they scared to talk about anything, evidently. Because I'm thinking, why did they waste people time with this? They should have just directed them to the Netflix documentary. Because the Netflix documentary went in depth. If y'all haven't seen that, you need to watch that if you're wondering what happened with Jeffrey Epstein. And even that, it's got a lot of info in it, but even that ain't telling half the story, in my opinion. It can't be. Like, has anybody figured out who Ghislaine Maxwell's husband is? Because it says she can't, why nobody can't find out who her husband is? Why he got to be a secret? Who is her husband? I would like to know that. I thought they was going to talk about that last night or something. I thought they had some new tea. Girl, they ain't got no new tea. It's the same old stuff. Like I said, I seen that on the freaking Netflix documentary. The stuff that they was talking about on there last night. Shoot, we done seen all that on YouTube. Forget the Netflix documentary. We done seen it on YouTube. I was like, child, if they don't stop the shenanigans of it all. Ooh. Child, Stage Girl said I started watching it and feel it. Yeah, I bet you did probably. It ain't no need to rewatch it. Because it ain't nothing that you ain't heard already. That's how lame it was. I was absolutely disappointed in that. Okay? But like I'm saying, maybe they gonna share some juicy news tonight or something. I don't know. But last night it was boring because we had heard all that stuff before. You know. And I will say that did you see that mixed girl or that high yellow girl or whatever she is? She darn near white, but she, you can tell she's a mixed or really, really light skin, right? You can tell by her hair that she's not all the way white, but and her skin tone, right? And she was saying how he didn't want her, in a sexual way, but if he think he can work with you, if you think you can, get him to something, you seen it on YouTube, get him to something, and she was a model, right? And my thing clicked off, y'all. Sorry about that. Uh, let me try to close, child. I don't know why they're trying to cut me off. Child, but anyway, I'm glad it clicked back on. Long enough for. Are y'all still here? Can y'all hear me? Maybe I was talking about Epstein too much, child. I don't know. What happened? Child, can anybody hear me? Okay, you can hear me. Okay, wasn't that suspicious? I'm great clothes on her anyway, because I've been on her almost 2 hours. It's an hour and 39 minutes, child. But all right, every time I get to talking about Epstein, miraculously, my app start messing up. Okay, get delving 2 minutes too far into it, then they'll cut your whole stream off. I was like, well, but anyway, I'm through talking about it anyway. Because whatever it was that we seen on there last night, we done heard it all before. Okay. Sure. Oh, it's been happening on people's streams. Well, let me close now, y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining me. I'm glad I got to come back in and close or whatever. Because y'all know I hate to leave a stream without saying bye. And I want to say thank you guys for being interactive with me. Thank you for staying on this whole time. I really appreciate you guys. You guys have a nice rest of your night. If they do have some new revelations tonight, December shoot, we'll come back and talk about it. But like I said, as far as it went last night, it was regular smuggler. We done heard that all before. Wasn't nothing new. Okay, love you guys. Talk to you guys later. Please hit the like button if you haven't already, which you probably have. Thank you anyway ahead of time. Please hit that. Please hit that share button. I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you, Almanize. I appreciate you for joining me and appreciate the content. Thank you. So I'm gonna talk to you guys later. Okay, bye bye. Peace.